Yeah. Oh, can you fill me in? Let's talk about it.
We are also recording. So, Pippa, how are you doing?
Very well.
Very well.
How are
Good to see
you?
you. It's good to have you as my first live Facebook feeded interview as well.
I know.
We're going to talk about grade 3 APXA tumour. I've bottled out of it, so everyone will understand why in a second. Will you tell me what APXA stands for?
So it stands for anaplastic pleomorphic xanthoastrocytoma.
Wow.
A very rare type of brain tumour.
Right. Okay. So this is something that's sort of been a big part of your life for the last couple of years. So obviously the first thing is sort of how did that start? Like what was the first thing that made you think there was something wrong, or how did you find out about it?
So it was back in 2018, and I'd moved to London to go to uni, and I had a really big seizure, and I don't remember anything. I was walking into a restaurant about to celebrate my granddad's 80th birthday, and I just blacked out. And the next thing I knew, I was waking up in A&E, and they said that I'd had a tonic-clonic seizure. So it means you like fall unconscious and you keep having multiple seizures.
Oh wow.
So initially I had an MRI, and then they diagnosed me with just epilepsy, just like have developed epilepsy, and prone to seizures. And then, so for a year, they put me on these anti-convulsive meds, and it takes them a long time to work out the dosage that you need to be on. So you need to be like a year seizure free before you even, can like get behind the wheel of a car, or like them to like amend your meds. They start decreasing them. And I just kept having these seizures, and they kept increasing the meds, and I kept having seizures and kind of deja vu experiences. And I knew it wasn't deja vu. It was more than that. It was kind of like I felt like I was in a film. And then I'd like throw up after. So it was really really weird. And then I think it was Christmas 2019. I told my neurologist that I'd had another one, and he said he was like, "We're going to send you for another MRI." And then he rang me one day after that for the results, and he wanted me to come in rather than tell me on the phone. And so straight away I kind of knew that it was something more than just epilepsy.
Oh wow. So then what was that conversation when they told you it's did they know then what it was, or did they just know it was more than epilepsy?
Well, I think he said we're going to bring you in for another MRI, but this time he's going to be in the control room, and after it he wanted me to have a meeting straight away. And so that's not very normal for this. It's just something's a bit, worrying there. So I knew it was something bad, and I'd never even considered that it would be a tumour, because like I was 20 and I've been completely fine. Like I started getting my head around the fact that I might just be prone to seizures, and yeah. And then after that scan, he just said that we missed a tumour on your initial MRI after that first seizure back in 2017. And within the year that we've compared it like to the scan we just did now, it had grown 2.5 centimetres.
So if they'd have found it originally, then that would have been a lot easier to sort of fix in a way, I guess.
Yeah, it would have been a lot less dangerous, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
And I mean, they just would have caught it earlier. So
And you wouldn't have had to have gone through all the seizures and the
yeah,
stress of that time as well.
yeah,
When my nephew his went undiagnosed for quite a long time. They kept sending him away from the hospital. There was questions about him making stuff up to get out of going to school. And then when they found that, it was sort of massive apologies, and they could have saved a lot of time as well.
Yeah.
But how big was it in the end?
I think it was about 2.5. I think it was probably about 3 centimeters wide. It was like perfect circle, so like circumference was probably 3 centimeters. I'm not really sure, but it was. I could see it from the chain. I could see it on the first scan. So the fact that a team neurologist had missed that, you know, once he pointed it out, that like me and my mum could both see it.
Yeah. So it was 3 centimeters, and it had grown 2.5 centimeters in the time.
No, I think on the first one it was like 1.5, and then it had grown like 2 centimeters in the year. So they knew it was aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So was your mum with you when you had that conversation then?
Yeah, I was in my first year at Leeds College of Music, and I was obviously keeping her up to date with what my neurologist was telling me. And then when he rang me saying that we need to go in, I rang her straight away, and we were both like crying, saying that we just knew there was something wrong. And she's literally been with it. She's been with me like every single step of the entire thing. Like, so she's the only person that will kind of ever get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming you've seen the adverts where they take someone into a waiting room and then they take them into the office and they tell them, and it sort of all the noise goes. And you can
Yeah.
see the person. Was it anything like that? What was the sort of the feelings in the room while he was telling you?
I mean, I've described it as like a indescribable feeling, if
Okay.
that makes any sense.
Yeah.
Like, you do feel like your whole world has just fallen apart right there, right then. And I think my first question to him was, am I going to have brain surgery? Because I've literally never had even like a local anaesthetic before. And so I've never broken anything. I didn't know. I didn't even know what to think. I didn't think it was real. But I don't cry. I don't cry in those meetings. I cry like after.
Yeah.
There's a massive delayed reaction. So my mum was like gripping my hand, and then I could tell she was like, you know, holding it together. And he said basically the next year is going to be really tough for you. And he just kind of gave me a warning. Yeah, and then I got in the car and I was just like completely broke down, and I just said, I can't do this. I remember saying that, and my mum was like, yeah, you can, like, we're going to do this.
Oh, so what happens from there? So they tell you this news, you leave. Have they given you a date to go back? Have they told you how soon it's going to be, or what to expect, or anything?
Yeah, so they told me January, I think it was like 22nd of January or something, that he told me, and I was in my first craniotomy February 5th. I didn't have much time to get my head around it at all. They wanted me to get in there straight away. So yeah, that was my first brain surgery at LGI.
So that must be like, I've had my knee rebuilt a few times. I've been in some silly accidents, and going into an operation, you sort of know what to expect, and you think, well, at the end of the day, if worst comes to worst, if it goes wrong, I'll have my leg amputated.
Yeah.
So sort of like, I can still live without that leg if something was to go horribly wrong.
Yeah.
To never have had an operation, and then the first one be an operation inside your head.
I know.
That must have been awful. How do you prepare yourself for something like that?
I don't even, because that week was just so stressful. Like, there was no room to think about anything else. I was obviously not wanting to Google that much. I didn't Google anything throughout the whole thing, because it's just not helpful, is it? Like, we've all done it. You know, you have a headache and you Google it, and next thing you know, you think you have a brain tumour when you don't. But yeah, it was just terrifying. Like, I can't even explain it. It was fear, like, on another level, because I never had an anaesthetic before, and it was completely, like, it was just pure fear. Like, my entire body was shaking when they were trying to put me to sleep, and it wasn't working because I was, like, having a massive panic attack. Yeah, it was like, it was quite traumatizing, because I had to sign a form that was like, you know, potential things that go wrong is like death.
Yeah.
So, like, having to sign that, it was just quite, yeah.
Wow. So you finally end up asleep, and they do this operation, and then you wake up, and can you feel pain? Is there bruising, swelling?
I woke up, and I think they said it was supposed to be 4 hours, and I was in for like 6.5 hours.
Right.
So I think the waiting for my family was awful. You know, after it gets to that 4 hour point, they're like, why is it taking so long? Why have you not heard from them? I just remember waking up in intensive care, and then had this massive bandage around my head. I don't really remember feeling any pain. I was on loads of morphine at the time, obviously. But then, yeah, it was more like just nauseous, and I could hear everything in my head. It's really weird. You don't realize how much is going on there until you can, like, hear everything.
So was there any bruising or swelling to your face or anything?
No, they had like they'd done my scar really, really neat. It actually surprises everyone when I show them the scar, and I didn't want to see it. But my mum was like, honestly, you'll be so happy with it. So she took a photo, and she showed me, and I was actually like, it's tiny. Like, I don't know how they did that.
Wow.
And they only showed
how
a
big
tiny
is the
bit.
scar?
It's like, it goes from like behind my ear to like there.
Is it straight up?
Yeah, it's like a complete straight line. And I'm going to try find a photo of it, actually.
Pippa was just going to show us a picture of her scar.
Okay. I feel like you'll be really impressed.
Oh, wow.
So can you tell that's my ear?
Yeah, you can just see the hair going over your ear.
Yeah.
Oh, wow, that is.
I'm facing that way.
Yeah.
So
it's just literally a straight line just at the back above your ear, isn't it?
Yeah, I was impressed with it. I was worried I was going to have like loads of hair shaved, and it was all wonky, but it's really good. They did well.
So how long did it take you to recover from that, to be able to sort of walk about and do things normally?
Well, I got invited to Nile Rodgers' Brit Award party, which was about 3 weeks later.
Oh, we should probably mention that Pip's an amazing musician, which we're going to come to at the end. So if that sounds like a really random thing to be invited to, it's probably not.
Yeah, just like out of the blue.
Okay, so when was that? How long after your operation was that?
So my operation was on the 5th of February, and his Brit party was on the 20th.
Right, okay.
And I was like determined to go. And yeah, I recovered really quickly in terms of, I mean, that is obviously ridiculously quick.
Well, when you've got that sort of determination to get to a party with him, then amazing things can happen.
Exactly. And yeah, my sisters were going to it. My dad drove us down in a Jag, like he hired one, so that we all felt proper, you know, like a good celebration. But the recovery was awful, but I don't really know how I managed to get there like 2 weeks later. It was a week before that, I couldn't even walk to the bathroom without throwing up. Like it was really tough. But every day you get a bit better, and they send young people home really as soon as possible because people get better when they're at home.
Right. Okay. So did they give you a load of medication to use, or did you get more
No.
to take home? Or
No, they sent me home with paracetamol.
oh wow.
That was it. And because they took so long to prescribe codeine for me, and my sister had to. They were like, right, we're going to send you back home with paracetamol. And then my sister, the pain got quite bad, so she like went back and got the codeine for me. But yeah.
Jeez. So what happens after that? So how long are you going for scans to make sure it's clear, it's not come back?
Well, I think then they were saying that I was going to have brain surgery and radiotherapy.
So they said that to you as you was leaving, so you already knew that was a thing that was going to happen.
Yeah, I knew that they need a few weeks to like plan to like prepare you for radiotherapy and make a program for you. So that took a few weeks, and then I was having 6 weeks of radiotherapy, 5 days a week.
Wow. And what when you say radiotherapy, what does that look like? What is it?
So essentially they zap the area. In my case, it was where the tumour was.
So are you sat? Are you laid down?
Yeah, you're on this bed, you're just lying flat, and because I was getting targeted to my head, they have to do this mask that they mold over your face. This is what I mean by preparing you for it. And so they mold this kind of massive sheet of plastic over your face, and then they cut out eye holes and obviously a mouth bit, and then they literally like bolt you to this table, so you cannot move, because obviously if you move it's going to be detrimental to where the radiation's going. And then it's only 5 minutes. It only takes it's not long at all.
What does the machine look like? Like in my head now, I'm seeing, the X-ray things where they've got the.
I've got a photo of it here.
All right.
Can you tell?
Oh wow. Okay.
So like, you can see that black bed there.
Yeah. What bit was near your head?
So this whole thing rotates the whole way around, like on the wall.
Oh.
And this bit at the top, radio waves come out of that.
Right. Okay.
So that whole thing goes all the way around your head. It's quite confusing, but they give you a tour of it before you start. They give you like a full-on tour. So yeah.
Geez. So could you feel anything while it was doing it? Did it feel hot or?
No, you can't feel anything. It's actually quite weird because you're staring straight up at where the radiation's coming from, and you can see all these little grooves moving in shape of what your program is.
Right.
There are all these tiny little millimeter grooves, obviously shaping the beam. And it takes 5 minutes, so that you go in, they bolt you down to this table. And I didn't mind it. Yeah, I thought it was quite relaxing.
Bolted to a table with a over your face with little holes cut out, a big machine rotating around your head, things that are moving at different times. Found that quite relaxing.
Yeah, it's just 5 minutes to myself, like, and it was quite empowering because you're just there, like, go on, kill cancer. Like, I don't know I just remember looking at it and I was like, please, no, it's zapping me right now. Like, it's like the best thing for it, hopefully. Yeah, like I didn't mind it that much, and I got my eyelashes done every week because I got eye holes. The radiologists were like, "Oh, your eyelashes are great this week."
How often did you do that? Once a week?
Once every 2 weeks.
Once every 2 weeks. For how long?
Oh, you mean radiotherapy?
Oh, sorry. Yeah, not your eyelashes. We're not talking about your eyelashes.
Oh no.
How often is the radiotherapy?
That was Monday to Friday for 6 weeks.
Just 5 minutes every day for 6 weeks. And how far did you have to travel to do that?
Luckily it was a 45-minute journey to St James from where I am now, but people travel hours for treatment, so I feel really lucky in terms of where I'm like getting treated.
Right. And how long, so what's the gap in between the next surgery then?
So they wait, I think they wait a few, like a month for the swelling to go down from what radiation might cause. And then they have a scan. And then that was July 22nd, my scan.
Right.
They give you quite a few months. But the thing is, I had a relapse in July. So my scan came back that it was coming back. So radiotherapy hadn't worked.
Right, okay. So did they call you in to tell you that?
Yeah, because it was the first time that, well, I mean, it could go either way, couldn't it? When you have that first appointment after treatment. And I kind of just had a feeling that I actually didn't see it coming at all this time. It was a massive, massive shock. And it was just like, oh, I've got to do it all again now. I couldn't like imagine it. It was at the time, but I was like, oh, I've done it before, I can do it again. Yeah, just kind of like it was just the same as the first time pretty much. Slightly less shocking.
The second operation?
The second operation was a lot easier.
You're talking about the time the doctor said to you?
Yeah, when they told me that it had come back. Yeah, it was the same kind of emotions, but like my sister was waiting in the waiting room, and she knew that I was getting some like kind of information. It's just difficult telling your family like on FaceTime.
Yeah.
Yeah, because my sister was on a cruise in the Caribbean, so we had to tell her, and obviously she wants to be there with all of us, and yeah. So yeah, just going in for my second brain surgery.
And did you feel more prepared for that because you knew what to expect, or is there no way of preparing yourself for something like that?
No, I was like a completely different person the second time, because like I'd done it before, and so I was just like mentally so much in a much better place for it. So I kind of knew what to do, I knew what to expect, and I think that's why I recovered equally as quickly the second time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you come around the second time, and is there any talks of more radiation?
No, because I've now had like the maximum amount a person can have.
Right. Okay.
Within like a year or however many years. But they said that after the second surgery, they're going to try me on a chemo. And they don't know what the kind of side effects of that is going to be. So they wanted me to freeze my eggs. So within the slot of like my relapse and my second surgery, which was in September last year, I had to like go through like 3 weeks of like IVF, just in case it like impacted on my fertility.
It's all happening at the age of 21.
20.
Sorry, you're 21 now.
Yeah.
It's all happening at the age of 20.
Yeah. It's a lot.
Yeah, it is. So what's the deal with the chemo? You said you didn't have to have the line. Is it medication that you take?
Yeah, so because my tumour is so rare, the chemo is called targeted chemo, and they mainly use it in America. So we had to appeal for my case for it to be able to be imported from the US to the UK. And I got like a stamp of approval for that, which was a really good day.
What do you have? Do you get somebody else to do that for you on your behalf? Or
Yeah. Because I've fallen into the teenage and young adult age group, you automatically get referred to Teenage Cancer Trust, and then you get assigned a clinical nurse specialist, and they're like your means of like communication with your oncologist and your radiologist and everyone like that. And so, you know, they're all contacting these kind of professors in the US and all that, and then my nurse rings me to let me know that I've got like the approval for it.
Oh wow, but that's a nice feeling.
Yeah, it was really good. And then and then I got put on those, but they're a brand new drug, so there's not enough data out there to know what the long-term side effects of it are.
Okay, but obviously that's a risk you were willing to take.
Yeah, definitely. So it was kind of the only thing it was kind of the only option.
So have you still got that tub next to you?
No, that's next door.
Oh, is it? So when we spoke earlier, you had the I never remember the name of them, but it's like a daily a what?
Like a pill box.
A pill box, yeah, with the 7 days.
Yeah.
And there was probably about 4 or 5 tablets in there. And when I said, "Is that what you have to take a day?" He was like, "No, this is just the morning one."
Yeah, I've got to take my seizure meds. So there's 4 seizure meds, and then there's an antibiotic, an anti-sickness, and then 3 of the chemo. So what's that? Is that 9?
I wasn't counting, I was listening, sorry.
I think that's 9. I think that was 9 pills in the morning, and then like 8 at night. Like every day.
And when I said to you, "Oh, but that's a pain," you said, "Yeah, but it's better than having a brain tumour."
Yeah. But it is, isn't it? And I feel quite lucky because when I'm not an inpatient, and I go in for my monthly bloods and my heart scan, and I see people on ward 94, and you know they're like hooked up to their IV, and I feel like a lot freer, and I can just do it. You know, I can just take my chemo in the morning and not have to think about it until the evening.
Wow. So what happened when you started taking the chemo? How long ago was that?
18th of October. I've got my little dates here because I could not remember that.
So about sort of 8 months.
Yeah, so I just had my third scan, and then they're all like I've had 3 clear scans now, so they are working.
3 months, so it's been 9 months of clear scans, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. This scan recently is like the best one because the first scan is obviously like, oh, there's nothing there, but you kind of don't believe it.
Yeah.
And then the second scan, there was a little thing that they had a question mark over, and they didn't know whether it was a blood vessel or like a relapse. So this third scan, they said that thing's disappeared and it was a blood vessel, and it's like completely clear. So
brilliant.
Yeah.
Did you have any side effects with the chemo?
I had like morning sickness. Like I had to miss a few 9 a.m. lectures. But other than that, I think I was a bit tired, but other than that, nothing.
Right.
So I've kind of got away with it. But like a big side effect of radiotherapy was obviously losing half my hair.
Yeah.
So that's the only side effect I've really had.
So you said because you was young, you got signed up with Teenage Cancer Care, is it called?
Teenage Cancer Trust.
Right. And
yeah.
So for anyone who has either done it themselves or anyone who knows somebody who's cut off their hair and donated it.
My wig, for my wig.
They provided you with a wig, didn't they?
That was the Little Princess Trust.
Little Princess Trust.
Yeah.
So anyone that's done that, you benefited from that. And how much of a difference did that make, having like real hair? So it looks, you know, you can go out and it looks like real hair.
Yeah, no one will like know.
Yeah.
For me, that was like the biggest worry of mine, to lose half my hair as like a young girl. And you know, my hair was really, it's really thick and brown, and I was really proud of my hair. It was one part of me that I just like was really happy about, and I was terrified to lose it. So they were kind of saying that you can have a wig, or you could just kind of, you know, walk around with a bald head, and I just didn't want that. So they put me in contact with Little Princess Trust, and I went for my first fitting, and they'd asked me prior to send a photo of my hair at the time so they could completely recreate it. And then I went for my fitting, and I was just crying because I look like me again.
Yeah.
And it was really good. I was just very grateful for people who do donate their hair.
Is that something you're gonna look at doing yourself when yours grows back and gets long enough?
Yeah, I've actually not considered that, but yeah, I probably will do that.
Yeah,
It's a long way off because it's really short. Yeah,
out in that sense, but that is amazing. Like you say, especially as a young girl, and hairstyles and stuff is a big part of your identity. With your singing, you're on stage, you've got sort of everyone looking at you. When you know you're in the spotlight a lot. So tell me about singing.
Yeah.
How long's that been going on for?
Well, my actual singing, I mean, since I was like 14, but when I went to Leeds College of Music to do my A levels, and that was in pop performance as a vocalist. And then after that, I went to Goldsmiths in London as a singer, and that's when, you know, I had a seizure. So I was considering dropping out anyway, but that kind of helped me make the decision. So I came back to Leeds, and then I managed to apply for the next year for going to Leeds College of Music for a degree. And I managed to like apply and get in whilst going through all this. And then I'm doing production now, but I'm managing to produce my own music and work as a vocalist with other producers and stuff. So it's really good.
How does that work? Because doesn't a producer usually say it would sound better if you did this, or can we change this? But if it's just you,
if it's just you, then you can just like do what you want.
You've got no one to pull you up on anything.
Yeah, but also like I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to making my own tracks, and which is a really good thing as a creative.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're the same with.
Yeah, I am.
With like your spoken word and
do you know what? I don't edit, and that's a big thing for some people. I write, and then when I've finished, that's it. I'll say it out loud a few times. I might add a word, change a word, but then as far as it goes, I never take stuff out, or I hate editing. And some people are so passionate about editing and how the editing part makes the performance and all the rest. And I'm just like, I've never edited. Makes some people really uncomfortable. Does that?
Why not?
Just because they're so passionate about the editing part of the process, and because I don't even consider it, because I just think if you edit stuff out, why did you write it in the first place? That's my mentality. If I've wrote it, it's for a reason.
Yeah, unless you like make a mistake.
Yeah, but that's what I'd get changed. So like I say, I'll read it out loud. I'll say it out loud a few times, just to see if I can make it flow. And if I need to put in an extra word or take a word out, but that's as far as it goes.
That's good. I'll rate that.
Yeah, it's everyone has their own process, and that's mine. But if I'm honest, I don't even write that much anymore. I don't really have time. I don't feel inspired to write anything at the moment.
Yeah.
Frustrating. Have you wrote anything about what's been going on the last couple of years?
It's a weird one because it's like so much has happened, and within all that, there's been like relationships and breakups and stuff like that, and it's just like it's almost like I've been given so much potential like content, I don't even know where to begin. And I don't know how to do it justice either, even though it's my life. But I did try, and also it was all a bit too kind of raw to write about, but I actually did write my first little song. It's like only a few people have heard it, about the whole thing, and I was like crying whilst I wrote it, which is a good sign.
Yeah, definitely. So have you sung it yet?
You mean like recorded it?
Yeah. Or anything?
Um,
Have you sung it to people? Have you sung it to your friends, or have you just, when you say a few people have seen it, is that the words?
Oh no, that's like I recorded it. It's like it's like a demo.
Yeah.
And I've played it to my mum, and my boyfriend George. That's it.
And did they cry?
Yeah.
Oh God.
Well, I think George was crying, but I don't think he admitted it.
I won't admit it. No.
You are?
He won't admit
No.
it. So is there any sort of long-term effects? Is there anything that you feel is different in your life now than before, or has it stopped you being able to do anything? Or
It's definitely made me like a much better person, and like, I mean, I've like grown up really quickly in the past year. I can't even compare myself now to the person I was before all this, because you just think you're invincible when you're young, which you should feel like that, but I can't feel like that.
If cancer came and tried to take you and you've beaten it, then you are invincible. Surely.
Yeah, that's a good way of thinking
Surely.
about it.
Yeah.
I never thought of it that way.
Yeah, you're definitely invincible. It came and it tried its best. It's done its best to get you.
Yeah.
And for 9 months now, you've said, I'm not interested. So that sounds pretty invincible to me.
Yeah, but at the same time, it could happen to anybody.
Yeah.
And you don't think it's going to happen to you, as cliche as that sounds, but like you literally don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, because there's nothing that you did to make this happen. It wasn't anything to do with your lifestyle or anything.
And that's one thing that I'm really I cannot even imagine if I had a reason to blame myself for a diagnosis like that. I can't really imagine how I deal with that, knowing that I could have prevented it.
Yeah, I think with that, it's easier to raise awareness after. So if you would have done something that caused it, you could be off raising awareness, saying these are the things I did and it caused this thing and this is everything I went through and it was terrible. So please don't do these things I did.
Yeah.
But with this, it's just there's nothing that you did. So how do you educate or warn people about this happening when it's just ridiculously random how it comes?
Well, I can't really educate people when it comes to symptoms, which is a massive thing that people want to know about.
Yeah.
And signs that you're getting whatever it might be. It could be like a mental condition, it could be anything. People want to know the red flags about it, but I think the way I've raised awareness and stuff is just raising awareness that young people do get brain tumours, and they can, and they're more common than people think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't really hear about it until someone it happens to them, and then they start talking about it, and they try and make it a normal thing for people to talk about, because we do shy away from tough topics. It's sort of we turn the telly over when adverts come on, when it's sort of talking about other countries and asking for money, and it just makes us feel uncomfortable, so we shy away from those things. And it's not until somebody we know personally that we really wake up and start paying attention to these things. Obviously, with my nephew, it was the same, and now we do
definitely
sort of things for teenage cancer companies. We do sort of fundraising and stuff. You mentioned, was it your sister that run a marathon?
Yeah, her and her mates from down south ran Ilkley Half Marathon, and they raised like over £2,000 for brain tumour research.
And did that go to St James's, or is that a bigger organisation?
That's like a charity that they just raise so much awareness and money for brain tumour research. I've been to a few of their like support meetings to see what their kind of plans are, and I'm actually hoping to get a career within the charity sector for brain tumour research now.
Right.
It's kind of swayed me now between music and like that.
Can you not mix the two?
Well, I was thinking of getting a career in some form of support, whether it be NHS or the charity sector, and then do my music on the side.
Wow, so this really has been life-changing in more than one way for you, hasn't it?
Yeah, I've definitely reconsidered where like my passion is.
Right.
And because I can kind of relate to people who are going through it.
Yeah.
Not even necessarily like brain cancer. It could be, I've made loads of friends who, whilst being in Ward 94, like I've met young people through Teenage Cancer Trust, through events and stuff like that. And we've all got stuff in common, and we've done like online quizzes together throughout coronavirus and stuff. And it's nice to know that there are young people out there who just completely get it. Yeah.
Wow. So you started doing a blog. What's the blog about? What sort of things are you talking about?
Well, I used the blog initially just to express how I was feeling, and like it kind of helped me. It helped me like organize what I was going through, and it was just a quick way to like let people know what was happening, to be honest, because it can get a bit tiring constantly like repeating yourself. And so I felt like a blog was a really good way that people who were interested in what was happening could follow and keep up to date with it.
And are you still contributing towards that now?
Yeah, I've not done as much because, I mean, it's a good thing there's like less going on in my life now, but now I'm turning it onto like awareness and future fundraisers.
Okay, and how can people find that?
It's an Instagram page, and it's a Pippa blog. It's just Pippa blog.
Pippa blog on Instagram.
Yeah, and it's
I was
called
saying to Pip before we started, I've never tried to do it before, but there might be a way to write it up on the screen. It's definitely not going to be a clickable link, but I might be able to get it to say something up there. Okay, so is there anything else that you want to mention? Have we missed anything? Because I don't want you to lose the opportunity.
Well, I would quite, if there's anybody who knows of any young people going through this, I would highly recommend joining a really closed Facebook group. I got told about this Facebook group. It's called Cancer Chicks, and it's a private Facebook group for young girls.
As in baby chickens, as in for young people. It's not like a female page, is it?
Yeah, it is.
It's for females.
Cancer Chicks, yeah.
Right, okay. When you said chicks, I didn't know if it meant like young people, like baby chickens, or if it was chicks like girls, or so.
No, yeah, for girls.
Right, okay.
Yeah, so that's like a forum where people can literally post anything, and it's just like girls like backing each other. And for example, I commented, is anyone finding this isolation period really easy? Because we've all been so like isolated from the real world already.
Yeah.
And I had about 60 people comment like, yeah, we've been sat in hospital for months, for years on treatments and stuff, not been able to do normal life things. And it's just nice to know that you're not the only one thinking that.
Yeah.
So yeah, I definitely find forums like that.
Pippa, you are amazing. You know the things that you've overcome, and your attitude. Saying it was relaxing being in that machine, where for some people that'd be terrifying.
Yeah.
It's absolutely amazing the way that you've sort of handled everything that you've been through, and fingers crossed, we're going to keep getting those good result scans, and they'll go from 3 months to 6 months, and then 6 months to a year, and then eventually they'll just say we don't even need to do these anymore. So that's what we're hoping for.
Yeah.
So yeah, and we're going to introduce you to some of the Determined Dan team, and see if there's any way of you coming and singing that song that you talked about earlier. Yeah, I didn't tell you that bit earlier, did I?
No, you didn't. Oh no!
I just dropped it in to see if there was a song before you could get out of saying it. Maybe at one of the next events or something. I think that would be really nice.
Have to practice it then.
Everyone, check out Pippa's blog, and thank you very much for coming on. I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
No, not a problem at all.